Hello, educators. Thank you so much for joining us for our Getting Started with Your CodeMonkey pilot webinar. Today's goal is to make sure you are getting the information you need to confidently teach CodeMonkey with your students. My name is Lauren Rata, and I'm one of the customer success managers and a trainer here at CodeMonkey. We are so happy that your school and your district has partnered with CodeMonkey to bring computer science in a fun and engaging way to your students. All resources from the session today can be found in the links provided in the description of this video on YouTube. Be sure to check them out. As always, you can follow us on social. To stay up to date on all the latest information and all things CodeMonkey, please be sure to follow us on all of our social media outlets at CodeMonkeySTU. Here are outcomes for our session today. First, let's start with the elements of a successful pilot. Are you curious about what has made our previous pilots successful? We put on our detective hats and found some fascinating similarities among our happy customers. The first is that successful pilot schools and or districts attended a partnership meeting with their CodeMonkey representative. This provided a time for us to gather the needed details to activate your subscription, learn your preferred methoding for rostering, and to also support your district with your different outcomes and setting goals for the pilot. The second or the next step to be a successful pilot is being completed right now. Training is strongly encouraged on basic navigation and use of the platform. The third thing is we found that successful users access the teacher resources, assign courses regularly, and monitored student progress on a consistent basis. And then finally, we noticed that part of being a successful pilot was linked to that at school home connection, which you know is very, very important. You can celebrate the success of your students with certificates of completion, which can be found at the end of every course or on your teacher dashboard. Or you can send home our CodeMonkey letter to the parents to help engage them in all the fun learning, as well as to continue their learning at home. So, what is CodeMonkey? CodeMonkey, we're actually a leading computer science program that provides that engaging online courses for students. Now, we started with just coding, but as you know, with our pilot, we now offer additional courses like digital literacy, high school, and even keyboarding. We started with and always have been designed with schools and teachers in mind. We are really easy to use and informative for students, teachers, and we have an administrator dashboard as well. We're standards aligned, both with Computer Science Teachers Association, or CSTA, and ISTE standards. We can also provide a standards alignment document sheet for your specific state. Just ask your representative. We are a full pre-K through 12 computer science curriculum. We're a little bit different because we provide that full curriculum that you can vertically align through all of your schools. Be sure to see our scope and sequence document for more information, and that will be included in the description link as well. And last but not least, there's no prior experience needed to teach CodeMonkey. We know that teachers are either mandated or at times just being asked or even just passionate about teaching computer science with students, but we don't necessarily have the background knowledge or training in that area of study. Well, we help bridge that gap with all of our courses and also the resources available. If you'd like, you can check out our video on YouTube to learn more about us. So, what about our courses? One of the biggest questions we get asked here at CodeMonkey is, well, what's your pathway? Where do I start and when and all the things? So, what we have is here is a kind of a visual first of our pathway to learning. We start with our block-based courses, which are CodeMonkey Junior and Beaver Achiever. We moved to text-based with our Coding Adventure and Dota Does Math. We then moved into advanced coding and creation. So we look at now we're moving into the Python and like it says, the advanced creation. So students are owning their learning by being able to build their own games and challenges. And then last but not least, we do now have offered our high school courses, both an AP CSP course as well as 5 other courses that we're excited about. What are our specific courses? I'm going to click this so that you can see it. And then I'm just going to give you a brief overview. This link will also be within the description, but this link has all of our courses one at a time in detail. So it'll have the pathway to learning, and then it starts with our coding courses. And as you can see, each one tells a little bit about the course and what it looks like within your dashboard to assign, and then some information about each. And you can go through this all if you'd like. The next thing I do, though, also want to go over with you is the overall, though. So overall, we have 7 full coding courses that are pre-K through 8. We have 2 additional student-centered learning, which is Challenge Builder and Game Builder. We have 2 digital literacy units, our digital use and digital citizenship. 2 AI units currently, data science and artificial intelligence, and more are coming. 9 mini courses as a bonus. We have new monthly activities that are released, you'll notice, every 4 to 6 weeks for fun. Those are 2 separate offerings. We have one that's looks kind of called Linus the Lemur that looks more like CodeMonkey Junior that we recommend for K through 2, and the other is for 3rd grade up that is more game builder based. Still block based, but a little bit more challenging. Like I mentioned, we have 5 high school courses, including the AP CSP Principles course that's approved by the College Board. We also, within your pilot, you have access to the keyboarding courses that support K through 8 to build that strong foundation with typing skills. And then also, we are expanding even more of our current digital literacy, and we have 2 new courses that are also included. The K through 5 is called DigiKind, and then also the Cyber Smart as well. Let's look at exploring the teacher dashboard together. If you want to follow along, you can go to our main website at our sign-in page at www.codemonkey.com/users/sign-in. Your subscription is active until the end of the school year of 2025-26. We have a variety of ways your school and or district may choose to sign in from. Some of our options are the manual usernames and passwords, as you can see here. And then we also have single sign-on options like Google, Clever, Office 365, and ClassLink. Also, you can use these in conjunction with creating classrooms and using class codes to join. Full rostering is also available via ClassLink and Clever for those larger site license and district licenses. If you're interested in this, make sure that you reach out to your CodeMonkey representative to explore those full rostering options. At this time, I am going to kind of close out of these slides, and I'm going to go into the teacher dashboard kind of live here and model each of these for you. First, this is your main teacher dashboard or homepage. You will be here in the My Classrooms tab. Here in the My Classrooms tab, this is what you initially see when you sign in. The power, though, behind it is when you go into and actually click on these other offerings here. Something I'd like to show you first is here, this, I like to call it the 3 lines or the hamburger. This is where you can find more information on your account. Something here you could change if you wanted to was the language, and I'm going to show you that here in a little bit on the student dashboard, because if you change the language as a teacher, this is also going to change it for your students. So I recommend allowing those students to do that. And then also there's just other information here, like getting back to your homepage, seeing your classrooms, more information about your account, and then other quick links to things like our help center and privacy policy. Other things here that you can access, as you can see, exporting reports. So if you at any time want to pull reports on your own, you can also reach out to your CodeMonkey representative to help support you with this, to kind of help you pull them and analyze that data. Also from here, it's going to allow you, if you are someone that's going to create your classrooms on your own manually, you can create classrooms directly from here. That's going to allow you to name them yourself, or even the import from Google Classroom option is here as well, if that's something you use. And then last but not least, also here, you will have more information on archiving. Archiving allows you to kind of hide those classrooms and students, but it doesn't permanently delete them. Here within your pilot, you do have an unlimited amount of seats, so that's great. But in the future, if you do move on to buy, then archiving does impact the amount of seats. It does not impact the amount of seats you use unless you have those flexible license, but just know that that's there. So let's go ahead and dig into that actual CodeMonkey classroom. I'm going to come here to my demo. So after you've created your classroom, or if you have gotten them imported through Google Classroom, or that even might look like you did the full rostering and they're here for you, you access them by clicking on them. When you click on them, the first tab you're going to come across here is the progress tab. This is where you're probably going to live most of the time. This is where I always like to pull up and leave my screen when I walked around and monitored and worked with my students in my classroom when I used CodeMonkey. So the progress tab here has a lot of options. And the first thing I like to tell teachers is to look up here. Are you in the correct classroom? You can look here. You can also toggle to classrooms over here and even search for them if you have a lot. The second thing I tell them to check is, are you viewing the correct course that you want to be looking at? So if I'm currently teaching CodeMonkey Junior, or later on a planning or after school wanting to check the progress, I need to make sure I toggle here to the correct course as well. Once I'm there for both of them, that's where you can then use this tab to monitor your students. This is live in real time. So as students move through the challenges, these stars are going to highlight. We do grade students by our star score rating, and that's also going to be a link if you want to find out more information on what that looks like within those links. Also within here, everything is clickable. So you can click on the actual student's name. So I can click here on this child Harrison to get what we call a student activity dashboard, and it's going to give you more information about that user, which can be helpful. As well as each of the stars are clickable. If I see his progress here and I want to know more information, I can click on it and it's going to timestamp when the child completed those challenges. And furthermore, you can even click on these to see what their actual solution was so that you can kind of confirm and talk to them about it, or even fix some of their misconceptions. So make sure you click into those even more. Another thing I like to access here under the progress tab is that you can see what the 3-star solution is for each challenge by hovering over the challenge that you're looking at. So if I wanted to see what the sequencing challenge 15 3-star score was, I can click on it and it's going to take me directly to that challenge to see what that solution should be. The next thing here I'd like to show you are a couple of the features. So some of the things that we allow you to access, you can download certificates right from here. If you want to send those home, we talked about that home family connection. Here, if you want more control over the challenges within a course you've assigned, you can buy entire classroom for students to skip to a challenge. So when you click that, you can enable them. If, let's say that they're very proficient in sequencing because they've done some hands-on coding there in the classroom, some unplugged activities, or maybe you've already done sequencing with them in other years on other subscriptions, and you want them to go to loops. You can go ahead and click enable and say, I want them to all be going to loops and challenge number 1 and say apply, and it's going to push and allow them all to start there at challenge number 1 in loops. And they can go back and repeat them. It just gives them the ability to skip ahead, because if not, the way our courses are designed is a student has to get at least 1 star before they are allowed to move on to the next challenge within a course. Next, kind of the opposite. You can limit their progress. So if you're following our lesson plans, which we'll go over in just a little bit, we do give guidance if you want to kind of do some direct instruction and keep them all at the same point within challenges, you can limit them. So for an example, I know that in our lesson plans for CodeMonkey Junior, sequencing and loops, it guides you to limit their progress on challenge 4 on the first lesson day. So I could say I want them to play up to challenge 4 and say apply here, and it's going to then lock them down to challenge 4 to keep them all at the same instructional point. And last but not least, you can export your data to a file here if you would like to. So that would help to make it into a spreadsheet so that you can further analyze it, adapt it, filter it, import it maybe with other grading databases and softwares, whatever you'd like to do. The next tab I'd like to go over is the Students tab. This is where you manage your students. This kind of depends on how you've chosen to roster. So if you are doing manual accounts, you're going to have more freedom here to be able to click on students to edit their display name, their username. You can support them with their password as well. And to get more options there, you can do that over here. I call it the skinny snowman, or the 3 dots more option. If you are using partial or even full rostering capabilities, so something like a single sign-on, you're not going to be able to change their display name or their username or password, because that's all tied into your student information system. Also with full rostering, you're not going to have those options as well, so keep that in mind. Something else, though, I do want you to keep in mind is the More Actions button here. At any time, you can print those login or QR codes for easy student access, provide a classroom login URL, and that's very helpful the first time if you're creating your own CodeMonkey classroom, and then you want students to sign in to give them that to directly get them there to be able to join with that class code. And then also you can just share the class code from here. The next tab here that's important is your assignments tab. And this allows you to kind of preview anything that is assigned currently to that CodeMonkey class. You can filter if you'd like by courses and also read more about them and assign them directly from here. As you can see, when you've assigned them, they turn green and say assigned. And then you can use this more options button to unassign or read more about it. And then to assign, you simply can click here. And you have two options here within this one. You can assign it to the entire class, which is great, or to specific students, because we know that every student is different and comes in at different entry points with coding. So you can come here and you can just multi-select or select one student at a time and confirm to just assign that course to them so that you can differentiate naturally within a CodeMonkey classroom. So that is very helpful. The next tab here is quizzes. So we've provided some quizzes for you here, which is great for summative assessment. You can assign these to students with a end date if you'd like, or you can just assign them outright. So to assign, you just look at it, hover over it and say assign to this class, and then you can then select a due date if you'd like, or leave that blank. Then also, if you want to unassign, you can do that as well here through that more options button. Quiz results can always be found there within that quiz result tab within the quizzes tab. The next tab here is your gradebook tab. Here under the gradebook, you can multi-select different classrooms. You can select different courses to view, and as well as sort students in different ways. And then you can also export that data if you'd like to other dashboards so that you can have that gradebook reporting. The proficiency tab is kind of their coding progress over time. This is something as a pilot you may not see a lot of data on quite yet, because it does take, I usually tell a district or a school to give it 1 to 2 school years to really see the proficiency, because students have to complete that coding concept in more than one course. So like I said, it takes a while because we have so many different courses. And in order to get sequencing, they have to do 2 different courses with that sequencing concept to get an actual proficiency score here. And last but not least is our showroom tab. This is something that can be toggled off, but just know here, this is where you as a teacher can manage the games and challenges, as well as projects within our high school courses that students are completing. The next tab I'd like to talk to you all about over here is the courses tab. Here in courses, this is where you can explore all of our courses that are provided for you. The great thing about CodeMonkey is it's all here in your teacher dashboard. So to explore those courses there, it looks just like the student view, so that you can use them for modeling. You can use them to explore yourself to become familiar with all of them. Ensure that you are checking your filters though at all times. I like to talk to people about that. The filters here help support you, and you can then use those to see just what you're looking for. So you can use the filter by level. So if you want to just kind of check out the beginner, novice, if you want just our main courses and then just coding, you can select or unselect and apply to just see what is available in that. Because if not, you have a lot of courses that are available to you in your pilot subscription, which is great, but I know that can be overwhelming for some just to kind of look through and peruse all of these. So know that that's available to you. The next tab here is your teacher resources tab. Here under teacher resources, this is going to be your best friend as you kind of begin to explore your CodeMonkey pilot. Here for your teacher resources, we have everything you can find in different ways. I prefer personally to come, and I like to do it by course. So after I have checked out my scope and sequence, so this is kind of like a curriculum map, you can come here first is what I recommend you start. You can check out our coding curriculum map, or you can also do the keyboarding curriculum map as well if you're wanting to integrate that. And here we're going to have guidance for you for which course to start with which students and which grade levels. It's going to tell you all about how many lessons it includes, what the standards are, both CSTA and ISTE alignment, as well as the pacing, how long it's going to take you. Once you figure that out, that's when I think you're going to be ready to actually go explore each course. So let's say you're looking at CodeMonkey Junior after you've kind of looked at our scope and sequence. Next, I would recommend coming here and saying CodeMonkey Junior, the sequencing and loops, and it's going to give you all the resources from our lesson plans to certificates to posters to videos that are incorporated as well there. You can find them, like I said, just individually, but I do prefer going by course. So all the solutions are here separately, the lesson plans, coding concepts, videos, certificates, all of it's here. But I do prefer it to explore it in that way. So use it as you see fit. The next tab here is My Creations. This tab allows you to see as a teacher your games and challenges, which also students are able to do once you assign it. We find that teachers like to do this sometimes to create a game or a challenge and then assign it to students so that they can also explore them kind of in between courses and challenges themselves. And last but not least, we have the Discover tab. So the Discover tab, think about that kind of like our showroom of all the games and challenges or our library from around the world. This is really neat so that you can see kind of other games from students all around the world and challenges from teachers all around the world. But if you don't feel like your students are ready for this quite yet, they are vetted, but if you don't want to use them, you do have the options to block them. And then once you turn them off, students will not have that option and be able to either look at them and play them or as well as share them or use them at all. So this is done from the My Classrooms tab where you can select the class, go to assignments and advanced options and discover and toggle that off. Let's look at CodeMonkey from the student dashboard perspective. Same thing here. Students can sign in at codemonkey.com/login. We have the same options for your students to sign in, just like teachers. They can have those manual usernames and passwords if you decide to create it that way. We have single sign-on options over here, like Google, Clever, Office 365, or ClassLink. We have that QR code option from when you were on your teacher dashboard and you were able to export those QR codes that they can use and log in. Just be sure to know that they do have to have a camera-enabled device. And then also don't forget that we do have the full rostering that they can also use to sign in, like we mentioned with Clever and ClassLink. Here's the look at the student homepage or dashboard. As you can see, they are limited to the tabs that they have rather than the teachers. The first thing I always tell my students to do is check to ensure that you are on your correct profile. We know that sometimes devices can be shared and students forget to sign in or out, so it's important that they check that they are signed in as their profile to ensure that the correct data and progress is there. They will find their name as well as what CodeMonkey classrooms they're enrolled in. We also have this awesome achievements feature with badges that students love. To get started coding, all they have to say is continue coding, and it takes them right back to the challenge on the course that they were currently on that you've assigned. Also here, you will see that they always start with their courses tab. And so it will show them everything assigned by your teacher. It will be open and ready to click and access if it's assigned by you, as well as if they're ready for it. But it might be locked if you've assigned it, but they're not quite ready because they haven't unlocked it in some of those previous courses. Something else I'd like for you to note is also the students have that, what I call the 3-liner, the hamburger icon in that top right corner to find out more information. This is where I recommend students change the specific language if they'd like, and if you have guided them to, on their profile. We have up to 28 different languages right now, currently. And if you'd like to suggest any more, we're open to your feedback. This will help to kind of, if students are coming into your classroom, to feel like they can participate, and it will change the basic text there on the dashboard for them. Next is the Creations tab here. From here, you'll notice is the second one here that they can see that the creations for themselves and create new creations, whether that's a game or a challenge, or they can see other games and challenges from students in their actual CodeMonkey classroom. And these will only pop up once that you have approved them. Students also, after they've created them, have to share them, as you can see here in the visual. So this is a great way to tie in and kind of those next steps after they've learned those basic coding concepts. They've applied them in our courses. Now it's their turn and they're able to create their own games and challenges, which is that true transfer of those skills. And then last but not least, the Discover tab is last there. Those are those games and challenges that are vetted by CodeMonkey before becoming available. Also, make sure that remember that you can disable this if you do not feel like your students are ready for it. And remember, you can do that under your My Classrooms tab. And then under the classroom, select assignments, advanced options, and then turn or toggle that off. And then they will not be able to access that. And they'll only have two tabs here. Something else I want to point out is student profiles. So up there by that other icon, students can go to their My Profile and kind of customize it a little bit. They can change their own cartoon avatar. They can also change the theme, make it something fun like sports or books. And then also from here, they can see all their games and challenges as well as their favorite and likes as well. So just kind of something fun to get students excited there on their profile. So, what are your final steps now of those getting started? The first thing that we recommend that you do to get started is to sign into your teacher account. Remember, you have many ways to do this. So, kind of be thinking about and exploring those different options and what's going to be best fit for your school or your district. Next, after you sign into your teacher account, it's time for you to create your classrooms and roster students or check them. So if you've decided to do the full rostering capabilities, you might just need to go monitor. Are all my classrooms there correctly? And are all the students already automatically added? The next step is to check out our teacher resources tab that I showed you. First, I recommend starting with our scope and sequence documents or our syllabus to kind of figure out which course you want to use with which students first. And then that's going to assist you with the lesson plans. Which lesson plans do I need to access now that I know the course I want to use to help to support you as a teacher? After that, you're going to have to assign those courses. Remember, you can assign a course to a single classroom. You can do it to multiple classrooms through the assignments tab or individual students as well. So if you have students with different needs, remember, you can individually select them to be able to give them the course that's most appropriate. And last but not least, always monitoring that student progress and continue implementation. So check out that progress tab while students are working or maybe later in the day during your planning or after school to make sure that the students are on track to see if you have any reteaching to do or if you maybe need to push them ahead if it's not challenging enough for them. So be sure to check that out. And last but not least, we just want to thank you for your time and joining us today. We're really excited to partner with you to provide this opportunity for your students for the remainder of this school year. Be sure to tag us in anything you do if you're on social media. Remember at CodeMonkeySTU. If you need any help, visit our help center. We have thousands of articles to help support you along the way. Also, remember, anytime you can reach out to your designated customer support or CodeMonkey representative with any questions you have. Also, if you need on-demand support, you can also email our email at support@codemonkey.com, and we are there 24/7 to reach out back to you and to support you. Again, thank you for your time, and we are so excited to work with you in this pilot.